find myself moving along a road that does not clearly define where it begins or ends, as if the concept of starting point was removed from this environment entirely. The motion feels continuous rather than intentional, like movement itself has become the default state of existence here, rather than something initiated by decision. Outside the window, darkness does not behave like absence of light. It behaves more like a layered medium through which perception slowly passes without resistance. Headlights appear briefly and then dissolve into distance without leaving behind any stable impression of their existence, as if they are only temporary disturbances in a larger field of darkness. The road stretches forward without offering any feedback about destination, and yet the act of moving forward continues without hesitation, as if direction is no longer dependent on purpose. Inside the vehicle, time feels slightly compressed, not faster but less segmented, as if seconds are no longer separated into recognizable units. The sound of motion becomes more noticeable than the visual environment, a steady low-frequency rhythm that replaces the need for conscious thought. I no longer actively decide to continue. Continuation simply happens, as if the system of movement operates independently of intention. Even thoughts begin to align with motion, losing their ability to interrupt or redirect what is already unfolding. There is no clear sense of arrival anywhere ahead, only the continuation of a process that does not appear to require resolution. And I remain inside this extended movement where stopping does not feel like an available interpretation of reality. Wind moves through the city as a continuous atmospheric condition that does not begin in any specific location and does not end at any identifiable boundary. It passes through structures that no longer behave like fixed objects, but instead function like permeable forms that allow motion, sound, and temperature to pass through without resistance. The city does not respond to this movement, it simply exists within it, as if adaptation is no longer required for continuation. Sound carried by the wind does not maintain its original identity. It arrives in fragmented form that feels partially complete but never fully defined. I do not experience one as direction anymore, but as a medium of ongoing environmental transition that does not require interpretation to remain present. Even stillness in space is not absence of motion, it is motion. that has slowed beyond perceptual detection thresholds, while still continuing at a structural level. And I remain within this atmospheric system, where environment and motion are no longer separable conditions. Light does not behave as a stable object in this environment. It exists only as a transitional phenomenon between emergence and disappearance that never remains long enough to be fully captured as a fixed visual state. Every trace of illumination appears slightly out of synchronization with perception, as if observation is always delayed by a fraction of time that prevents direct alignment with what is actually occurring. I observe light not as a single continuous entity, but as fragmented layers of brightness that shift while being observed, preventing any stable definition from forming. Even intensity does not function as a reliable measurement here, because brightness does not remain constant long enough to be compared across different moments of perception. The boundary between illuminated and non-illuminated space does not appear as a line or transition point, but as a gradual shift in perceptual density that lacks any clearly identifiable threshold. And I remain inside this unstable visual field, where what is seen cannot stabilize before it begins to dissolve again into variation. The city does not collapse in a recognizable event. There is no singular point where stability fails completely. Instead, structural relationships begin to weaken gradually, not by breaking, but by losing consistency between components. Buildings still exist in visible form, but their coordination with surrounding structures becomes increasingly unreliable, as if each element is operating on an independent internal logic. What once felt like a unified system now behaves like overlapping fragments of interpretation, none of which fully align with the others. I observe changes that are too subtle to register as incidents, yet too continuous to ignore as background noise. Even the concept of stability begins to feel like a memory of structure, rather than something actively present in the environment. And I remain inside this gradual disintegration field, where nothing clearly breaks, but everything slowly stops agreeing with everything else. moving through this city without a clear sense of beginning, as if I arrived somewhere that was already in progress before I ever became aware of it. The streets do not feel designed in a way that responds to presence. They feel like they exist independently of observation, continuing their own logic even when no one is paying attention. Rain falls constantly, but it does not feel like weather anymore. It feels more like a stable condition of the environment, something that never needed to start, and therefore never needs to stop. Every surface reflects light in a slightly delayed way, as if reality is always a fraction behind perception, never fully synchronized with what is actually happening. I walk without confirming direction, because direction assumes a structure of destination, and nothing here confirms that destinations are still meaningful concepts. Footsteps blend into the surrounding atmosphere, and I can no longer clearly distinguish whether movement belongs to me, or whether I'm being carried through a pre-existing motion field. Buildings around me do not feel static. They feel paused at different stages of transformation, as if each structure is operating on its own internal timeline that does not match anything else in the environment. Light sources do not illuminate space in a stable way. They flicker between presence and absence of definition, creating a visual experience that never fully resolves into clarity. Even silence here is not truly silence. It is a layered background state, a low persistent texture that exists underneath everything else, like the system never fully turns off its internal processing. Time does not move in a recognizable forward direction. It spreads instead, occupying space unevenly, creating long intervals where nothing changes, but everything still feels like it is continuing. There is no moment that clearly defines transition, no point where one state becomes another in a clean way, only gradual shifts that are almost impossible to isolate. I cannot tell whether I am remembering this place or experiencing it, because both sensations feel structurally identical here, as if memory and perception have merged into the same process. Even the idea of arrival feels irrelevant, because nothing here confirms that arrival is a valid outcome of movement. And so I continue, not because I expect anything to change, but because stopping would imply that something outside this continuation exists, and that assumption no longer feels supported by what I experience.
There is no clear spatial orientation in this environment anymore, as if direction itself has lost its ability to organize perception. What remains is a continuous expansion without reference points, where space does not provide boundaries, but instead behaves like an ongoing field of extension. I attempt to locate myself within it, but the concept of location feels increasingly abstract, as if it no longer corresponds to any stable condition. Thoughts form slowly here, not because of resistance, but because clarity does not arrive as a complete structure anymore. Each idea dissolves before it fully stabilizes, leaving behind partial impressions rather than conclusions. Even awareness feels distributed, not centered in a single point, but spread across overlapping layers of perception. There is no clear separation between observer and environment, because both appear to operate within the same continuous system of unfolding. And I remain within this extended spatial drift, where nothing converges into fixed position, and nothing requires convergence to continue existing. The room feels like it is inside a suspended state of time. Not paused in a traditional sense, but continuously existing without progression. Nothing here clearly changes, yet nothing is completely static either, as if movement and stillness have merged into a single condition. Time does not present itself in sequence. It exists more like a distributed field where order is no longer clearly defined. I remain in one position for an extended period, but the concept of duration feels unreliable, as if measuring time no longer produces meaningful information. Thoughts appear without urgency or direction, and disappear without leaving traceable conclusions behind. Even internal dialogue feels slightly detached, as if it is occurring one layer away from direct experience. The room itself does not respond to presence. It simply continues existing in its own stable neutrality, without indicating change or reaction. And I stay within this condition, where nothing progresses, and nothing requires progression. Thinking slows here in a way that does not feel like resistance, but like the environment itself has altered the speed at which cognition can form. Each idea emerges more gradually than expected, as if it must pass through multiple invisible layers before it becomes recognizable as thought. There is no clear separation between depth and surface anymore, only continuous variation in perceptual density. I notice that even simple reflections require extended formation time, and once formed, they do not remain stable for long enough to become fixed conclusions. Attention does not accelerate clarity. It only extends the duration of incomplete emergence. Thought becomes something that is always in transit, never fully arriving at a final state of definition. And I remain within this slowed cognitive environment, where thinking continues without guaranteeing resolution. Sound in this environment does not behave like direct transmission. It arrives in layers that are partially delayed, partially distorted, and partially reconstructed by the surrounding space itself. The tunnels feel continuous but not progressive, as if movement through them does not produce advancement, only shifts in repeating spatial conditions. Every footstep is absorbed almost immediately, not reflected back as clear audio information, but redistributed into a wider acoustic field that no longer preserves original form. Silence is not an absence between sounds. It is a secondary layer that exists underneath them, always slightly behind what is currently being perceived. Even distance becomes unreliable here, because sound does not confirm how far anything is, only that something has occurred somewhere within the system. I continue walking without depending on auditory confirmation, because the environment no longer provides stable feedback loops for orientation. And everything persists inside this echo structure, where origin and reflection continuously exchange roles, without ever resolving into a fixed identity. Neon light in this place does not behave like illumination. It behaves more like residual emotion, embedded into the environment itself. It does not shine outward. It lingers in space, as if it is slowly dissolving but never fully disappearing. The city appears reconstructed from partial memory structures, where every element feels slightly misaligned with itself, as if consistency was never part of its design. I observe surfaces that reflect versions of reality that are not fully synchronized with one another, creating a layered visual instability that never resolves into clarity. Familiarity appears without reference, like recognition without the ability to identify origin, a sensation that something is known without knowing why. Sound behaves in a similar way, arriving slightly late, fading slightly early, never fully aligning with its source. Even silence here feels electrically active, as if it is carrying residual signals that never fully complete transmission. I attempt to focus on a single stable detail, but stability does not hold long enough to be observed. Everything slowly transitions between presence and absence, without clearly committing to either state. And I remain within this fading system of light and memory, where nothing fully disappears, and nothing fully stays. Structure does not fail through a single point of rupture. It dissolves through continuous weakening of coordination between its components, until synchronization becomes unreliable across the entire system. Every element continues to exist in visible form, but no longer maintains consistent relational behavior with the structures surrounding it. What once appeared unified now behaves as multiple overlapping interpretations of the same spatial condition, none of which fully align with the others. There is no central failure event that can be isolated or identified, because instability is distributed evenly across all layers simultaneously, without a dominant point of origin. Coherence still appears intermittently, but only as temporary alignment that cannot sustain itself long enough to become structural stability. And I continue through this environment, where structure remains visible in appearance, but no longer functions as a reliable system of organization. Time does not behave as a stable, forward-moving structure here. It spreads across perception in overlapping layers that never fully align with one another. Each moment appears to resemble another moment that has already occurred, but the resemblance is never precise enough to confirm whether repetition is actually happening or only being inferred. I notice that experience does not move in a linear sequence anymore. Instead, it unfolds as a set of slightly shifted variations of continuity that never resolve into a final or stable pattern. There is a persistent sense that something is repeating, yet the repetition never completes itself in a way that allows verification. Past and present do not feel clearly separated. They feel interwoven in a way that removes the boundaries required for chronological interpretation. Even when I attempt to track progression deliberately, the structure of progression itself seems to dissolve into fragmented segments that cannot be reliably reconstructed into order. What I perceive as now does not remain stable long enough to function as a reference point for comparison with anything else. And I remain inside this temporal system, where repetition exists only as partial recognition, without ever forming a confirmable cycle.
The city continues to breathe at a distance. It does not reduce regardless of attention, proximity, or perceptual focus. This breathing is not localized. It is distributed across the entire system as a continuous condition rather than an event produced by a single source. It does not respond to observation and does not modify its rhythm based on awareness of being perceived. I cannot determine whether I am inside this system or observing it externally, because both interpretations fail to produce stable spatial certainty. Under continuous perception, the city behaves less like an object and more like a persistent background condition, something that continues regardless of whether it is actively noticed or not. And I remain within this extended separation state where connection is implied structurally, but never confirmed experientially.
Boundaries do not disappear abruptly in this environment. They weaken gradually through continuous reduction of contrast between adjacent perceptual states. Separation becomes increasingly difficult to identify over time, not because distinct elements merge into a single unified form, but because the system of distinction itself becomes unreliable as a functional tool. I attempt to locate edges between states of experience, but these edges do not maintain stability long enough to be consistently observed or confirmed. What once functioned as clear separation now appears only as a temporary interpretation, imposed on continuous variation within the same field. Even difference itself becomes uncertain in its operation, not absent but insufficiently stable to support structural recognition. And I remain inside this condition where boundaries still appear in perception, but no longer behave as reliable divisions of reality. Static light, your voice returns. I found your name inside a drawer that I forgot I opened before. It pulled me back like gravity to something I can't leave. The air still carries what we said, like it refuses to be dead. Every corner of this room still smells like you. I try to write it out in lines, but time erases every sign, and I'm just stuck inside replay of yesterday. You're a memory flashback in my mind, a loop I never left behind. Every second plays too slow, like it won't let go. Your shadow made of light, stuck between wrong and right, and I don't know how to break this endless tape. Shows a different past where nothing ever seemed to last, but I still reach out anyway to things that fade. Your voice is stitched into the walls, it rises every time I fall, and I can't tell what is real or what I feel. Maybe I built this all myself, a quiet kind of mental hell where every ending turns around without a sound. You're a memory flashback in my skin, a place I keep collapsing in. Every heartbeat starts to trace your missing face. You're a loop I can't erase, a time I can't replace, and I don't know where I end or where you went. Where you went. If I forget you piece by piece, would I finally find release, or would you come back even more than before? You're a memory flashback in my head, living things you never said, and I replay every night until the light fades. remain. I left a town I couldn't save. It followed me like ocean wave. Every street I try to leave still remembers me. The road ahead is never straight. It bends around every fade, like it knows exactly where I'll disappear. And I don't know what I'm chasing now, just silent roads and fading sound. But something keeps me moving on till it's gone. I'm on a neon highway running through the night that keeps on humming. Every light becomes a trace of a different place. I don't know if I'm escaping or just slowly evaporating into motion without end. Again and again, the radio plays broken tones like messages from unknown homes. I try to catch them in the air, but nothing's there. The rearview mirror never lies. It shows me all my other lives, but none of them are still intact. They don't come back. Maybe motion is a lie, a way to keep the questions high, so I don't have to understand where I stand. I'm on a neon highway drifting through the pieces I keep shifting. Every mile dissolves the line between yours and mine. I don't know if I'm returning or just quietly unlearning everything I thought was real, or how I feel. If I stop here in the dark, would I still carry every mark, or would the road inside my head finally end? I'm on a neon highway fading, but the silence keeps me waiting for a place I've never known to call my own. Engine fade, I'm still gone. Waves breathing like a slow confession. I stand where silence meets the tide, letting thoughts come and collide. Every fragment drifts away, but never fully fades. The ocean doesn't ask my name, it just absorbs my blame, and everything I couldn't say gets washed away. And I feel lighter than I should, like letting go is something good. voice once lived inside the wave. Now it's something it can't save. Just echoes breaking into foam that never let me home. The deeper I descend inside, the more I lose the need to fight. And every memory turns blue until it's new. Maybe I was meant to sink, to stop overthinking. Ocean thoughts keep calling me near, where nothing ever feels clear. But I don't fight it anymore like I did before. I dissolve into the sound where nothing real can be found. And still I feel more alive inside the tide. If I let the current win, would I finally begin? Or just end where I start again? Ocean thoughts don't let me go, but I don't need to know. I just drift until I'm gone and carry on. Waves fade, I stay below. Boundaries do not disappear abruptly in this environment. They weaken gradually through continuous reduction of contrast between adjacent perceptual states. Separation becomes increasingly difficult to identify over time, not because distinct elements merge into a single unified form, but because the system of distinction itself becomes unreliable as a functional tool. I attempt to locate edges between states of experience, but these edges do not maintain stability long enough to be consistently observed or confirmed. What once functioned as clear separation now appears only as a temporary interpretation, imposed on continuous variation within the same field. Even difference itself becomes uncertain in its operation, not absent but insufficiently stable to support structural recognition. And I remain inside this condition where boundaries still appear in perception, but no longer behave as reliable divisions of reality.